Welcome to Ghouls Night Out with your hostesses, Brandy and Jody.
Hello, beautiful ghouls. Welcome. This is Brandy. I'm here with my sister, Jody.
Hello.
So I have a stupid joke, and I hope I haven't done this one before, because I know I've read it before, but I'm not sure if I've done it on here, but it's still funny. A family was driving behind a garbage truck when a dildo flies out and thumps against the windshield. Embarrassed and to spare her young son's innocence, the mother turns around and says, "Don't worry, dear, that was just an insect." "Wow," the boy replies, "I'm surprised it could get off the ground with a cock like that."
I think I've heard that before. I don't know where, but...
I think I've read it a few times, and I'm like, no, but since you were doing sex jokes,
yeah.
I'm like, oh,
Why not? They're always funny.
Yes, and stupid.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have some facts
Okay.
that I really hope we've never heard before on here. First one, a single sneeze travels 100 miles per hour and shoots 100,000 germs into the air.
Wow.
100,000 germs.
Surprised we're not all dead.
I know, right? Especially now, like, people give
gosh.
you weird looks if you sneeze or cough now.
I know.
I was like, oh my god.
There's a guy at work that sits kind of catty corner to me, and he obviously has allergies or something.
Yeah.
But every morning it's like coughing and hacking, and I'm like, oh my god.
Oh gosh. Okay. Next one. You're born with just 1 pint of blood, but by the time you're an adult, you have 4 to 5 quarts.
That's interesting.
It is interesting. I never thought about that.
Yeah.
Like, you gain blood as you grow. I mean, it makes total sense, but... The human body contains enough fat to make 7 bars of soap.
Shoot, I could make a lot
know.
more than that.
You have a huge gift basket.
Overflowing.
Oh, gosh. Okay. Next one. All humans have an automatic dive reflex. When your face is submerged in cold water or when you hold your breath, your heart slows and your blood vessels narrow to conserve oxygen. I thought that was interesting.
Interesting.
Next one. Newborn babies can't drown because their windpipes close in response to being submerged. However, that reflex disappears at 6 months. We do not recommend testing this.
Yeah, that's probably not a good idea.
Do not try that at home.
No.
Your stomach acid is strong enough to dissolve metal.
Oh, shit.
I know, right? The silhouette on the NBA logo is the Hall of Fame Los Angeles Laker Jerry West.
I have no idea who that is.
I have no idea who it is either, but I figured I'd add it in case someone does.
Okay.
Jerry West. Okay. The average lifespan of an MLB baseball is just 7 pitches.
Really?
Yeah. Huh. You think they hit them that hard, or...
I don't know.
Golf is the only sport to have been played on the moon. In 1971, Alan Shepard hit 2 golf balls on the lunar surface with a makeshift 6-iron. That's funny. The term winning something hands down came from horse racing. A jockey who is far enough ahead can slacken the reins and keep his hands down.
Okay.
Wild dolphins call each other by name.
How do they know that?
I don't... Maybe they just make a certain sound and one turns around and they're like, hey, that must be its name.
Like, hey, what's up?
And be like, eh! And then one would be like, oh, that sounded the exact same, right? Maybe they're twins. I don't know. Okay. Sperm whales are the loudest animal on Earth at 230 decibels. By comparison, an airplane is at 150 decibels at takeoff.
Wow.
That is super loud.
Yeah. It's a good thing they're underwater.
I know. We would all be deaf. Next one, polar bears have been mating with grizzlies in the Arctic, making a new animal called the pizzly.
The Pizzly?
Pizzly.
Pizzly?
A polar bear and a grizzly.
Oh my gosh. They couldn't have thought a better name than that.
They just put stuff together now. Everyone's very
Pizzly.
lazy. Yeah.
Stupid.
It is. Next one. a blue whale's heart weighs almost a ton and beats once every 10 seconds.
Dang.
That is crazy. Next one, a dog's sense of smell is so good that it can detect a teaspoon of sugar in 1 million gallons of water or 2 Olympic-sized pools.
Wow.
That is crazy.
No wonder they know when you're coming home.
I know. We're always like, who's coming? They are not nearly as stupid as us. That apple you buy in the grocery store could be over a year old. What? I don't know. But it says it on this piece of paper, so it must be true. Most wasabi paste that you get in sushi restaurants isn't wasabi at all, but horseradish. I think they just dye it green or something?
I don't know. What's the difference?
I'm not sure.
I thought wasabi was horseradish.
I thought it was in wasabi, but I didn't think it was just horseradish.
I don't know. I've never tried it, so I don't know.
This one I do not understand. The term okay probably comes from the misspelling of the phrase all correct. What?
Okay, someone's just making up shit now.
These could all be made up, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, but that one's like totally obvious that it's made up.
I could see, and it says probably in it, and it's supposed to be a fact, so that doesn't make sense either, but if you spelled all with an O and correct with a K.
That's stupid.
I know! Okay, let's just pretend I didn't read that one.
Okay.
Under certain conditions, hot water actually freezes faster than cold water. Lobsters used to be so cheap that they were frequently used to feed prisoners.
Wow.
I know. Tomatoes are native to the Americas, so there was no such thing as tomato sauce in Italy until at least the 16th century.
That's interesting.
It is. I was always under the impression that, like, tomato sauce was just Italian. That's where it came from. Dentures were once routinely made out of actual human or animal teeth. Ew.
Yeah, gross.
Most store-bought orange juice is artificially flavored.
I believe that.
Yeah. In the 16th and 17th century, wealthy Europeans ate remedies containing human body parts to cure disease.
Ew!
I could totally picture that.
People are so stupid.
I know. They used to bleed people. Oh, just get that blood out of there.
That's tainted.
They can make new blood.
They're so stupid. I wonder if we're doing things now and like 100 years from now, they're going to be like, oh my God, they were so stupid.
I guarantee it. Be like, oh my gosh, people actually use their hands for that? Next one, the pressure in the deepest part of the ocean is over 8 tons per square inch, which is the equivalent of having 50 jumbo jets piled on top of you.
Wow.
That isn't... Could you imagine one jumbo jet on top of you?
No. I would
Holy
be dead.
shit. Pez candy was invented to help people quit smoking cigarettes. The original Pez dispensers were shaped similarly to cigarette lighters.
That's very interesting.
It is.
Apparently it did not work.
It did not
but
work.
It's interesting.
It is. Next one, babies are born without kneecaps, as we know them. Babies have cartilage structures in their knees, which turn to bone by the age of 4. Next one, cheese is the most shoplifted food in the world.
Okay. I'd go for like, candy bars or ice cream.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever.
Not cheese. And this is my last one, and this is insane to me. You can't visit the world's biggest waterfall because it's actually deep underwater in the ocean between Iceland and Greenland. The flow of the Denmark Strait Cataract is 2,000 times more powerful than Niagara Falls.
How can you have a waterfall in the water?
I don't know. Look up Denmark Strait Cataract. That's what they call it.
Huh.
And maybe we can see what they're talking about.
Let's look it up.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't understand that. But the flow.
Oh, I was in the middle of looking up the automatic neti pot and I forgot.
Oh, yeah, we jumped from one topic a lot to another.
Denver, what?
Denmark
Oh.
Strait Cataract.
That's kind of cool looking.
Huh. Holy shit, you can see it.
I know.
Oh my gosh, that is cool.
Isn't that neat?
That is scary.
That is scary. I wouldn't go near it.
No. But I'll look at a picture. That's
yeah,
cool.
I'll look at a picture all day long.
Holy shit. Okay, those
Now
were
I
mine.
need to look up my automatic neti pot.
Oh, should I pause it? Yes, I'm done with my beginning.
Because if I don't do it now, I'll totally forget.
Mm-hmm.
Woo!
Is it expensive?
Yeah.
Oh.
$80.
Holy crap. Yeah, just use the other one. That's just water.
There's some that's 100, 109. Yeah, I'll just use the...
There's this shampoo that they're calling, like, Miracle Shampoo, and supposedly the first time you use it, it's supposed to cover bald spots. Like, it's supposedly wonderful.
Yeah.
It's $80 a bottle.
Ugh.
Damn
If it was me, I would probably buy it once.
I will
just
when I have an extra $80. I totally will.
Yeah, just to see.
And I was thinking, because I was like, okay, $80. I have to make it last 5 years. So if I
Just use a little bitty dot.
Exactly.
It's like, I don't understand why the shampoo isn't working.
This doesn't work at all. You're like, oh, you have to actually use it. What? It's $80.
Okay. I did 30 creepy superstitions you don't even realize you've been practicing.
It's very interesting. I'm curious.
So this is from Reddit, Ask Reddit, but I got it on the thought catalog thing. Okay. Middle names.
Ooh.
People made middle names and then didn't tell others what it was because in order to put a curse on someone, you need their full name.
Huh.
If someone has a legal middle name and you don't know it, then you can't curse them.
Interesting.
And it's, how often do you tell someone your middle name?
Never, unless they ask.
Yeah.
Yeah, my kids are set. They got long names.
It's like, what? Oh, forget it. You're already cursed. The fear of black cats comes from the 13th century when Pope Gregory announced to Europe that black cats were witches' consorts with the devil. This led to mass cat genocide wherein not only black ones were being murdered in masses.
Assholes.
He's
They're
a
so
fucking
cute.
asshole.
How? They're cats. They're so cute.
It's because they're not like dogs and they don't sit there and jump all over you and praise you and, oh my God, you're so awesome.
Yeah, you're probably right. That's pathetic.
People frequently describe sharp... Oh, were we done? Okay. People frequently describe sharp, sudden pains as stabbing pains, and a distant history thought they were actually caused by invisible arrows fired by woodland elves called elf shot.
Holy shit. Oh my gosh.
Remember when we were talking about how stupid we were?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Could you... I would hate to think that if I lived back then that I would think like that.
Yes. What else would you know?
I know, but come on. Invisible elves?
I know you've had a sharp stabbing pain before.
Well, yeah.
Okay, if you were like really dumb, you would be like, what? Like, what the fuck was that?
I would, oh my God.
And all you
I
know
hope I
is
wouldn't.
woodland elves. It has to be the woodland elves.
Oh my God.
Where else did it come from?
People are so stupid. If we don't laugh, we're going to cry.
Seriously.
Dressing up at Halloween was to ward off ghouls by outsmarting them.
Yes, I knew that. You wore masks to scare off the spirits.
Yes.
What the fuck?
What was that?
I think that came from your son's room. It has to be. It's probably Tyrion.
I think it's from your daughter,
Probably.
not my son. Of course, I wouldn't doubt it.
My sense of where things come from is so off.
Oh my gosh, mine is so horrible.
It's not good.
Something will make a noise, and I will look in the total opposite direction of where it's coming from.
That's why I think it came from that way, so it probably did go from that way.
I have the same problem.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
And every time I turn on my printers in my bedroom,
Oh.
every time I turn it on, I'll go in there and I'll turn it on and I'll come out here and I'll start doing stuff, and all of a sudden I hear this noise. I'm like, what the fuck is that? And I'm looking around. Every time it's
gosh.
the freaking printer.
I do that with my washer. Like, you're not alone.
Yeah, we're stupid. Anyway.
Let's continue making fun of people that are stupid.
To make ourselves feel better,
That's right. That's right.
Okay. Pumpkins at Halloween were derived from a tradition of putting carved turnips outside to scare away a guy that tricked the devil.
I don't think that would work. That was loud.
The use of wind chimes. A lot of people forget that they were once a ward against evil spirits.
Okay, all of these I don't understand how they think that would scare an evil spirit.
I don't know.
Do they know what evil is? They don't
Apparently
get
not.
scared very easily, right?
No. You walk up and say, what the fuck is wrong with these people?
Oh,
Think a little noise is going to scare me?
They made a face out of a turnip. I'm not scared at all.
Covering your mouth when you yawn. It was originally thought the devil would sneak in if you didn't.
What? Oh my god! I always thought it was just nobody wants to see
Your
inside
big old
your
gaping mouth. Yeah.
Oh no, but the devil might sneak in there. Oh my god! Do they think that the devil made them yawn so he could sneak in there? I'm so confused. Oh my god.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Around here, a lot of people learn that if you leave your flip-flops or shoes face down on the ground, your mother will die.
What? Why?
I don't know. What's that even got to do with anything?
Seriously, what is that?
Making noise at midnight on New Year's Eve to scare away the evil spirits.
Going back to the shoe thing, that was some mother that was a perfectionist. And she's like,
Do you want to kill
do
me?
you want me to die?
You know what? That is probably exactly what happened. You're trying to kill me.
And then they all told their friends that if they left their shoes upside down, your mom will die.
Didn't you know that?
Oh my god. Oh my gosh.
Oh, wow. Okay. Blowing out birthday candles.
Oh.
It's not well known, but this stems from a tradition which paid tribute to the goddess Artemis and was thought to be auspicious.
Very interesting. Mm-hmm. You know, you always wonder where these things come from.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Pretty sure death will come to me if I ever open an umbrella indoors. And when I see someone do it, I automatically wince because I know their life force is about to be taken from them. Saying bless you when someone sneezes was originally ordered by a pope in the Middle Ages to ward off plague.
What?
Because plague listens,
Oh,
It has ears. And
that makes sense, though. I get that. I mean, like they're thinking?
yeah.
That's very interesting. Everyone always said that it was because your heart stops for a second when you sneeze.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah.
Not speaking ill of the dead. They're not coming back to haunt you.
I've always heard that. But that's just more of a respect thing, I thought.
It is, but see, I can't stand that. I can't stand it when someone in life is a horrible person.
Oh, yeah, who cares
And then
if
they
they're dead?
die, and then all of a sudden, oh my gosh, they're so great. No, they're not.
No.
They're still a fucking asshole.
Yeah, you can't.
They're just a dead asshole now. Clinking glasses and saying cheers before you take a sip of your drink. If I remember correctly, it used to be a thing in feudal England where warring factions made peace with each other by clinking their huge beer or ale mugs, thereby spilling a bit of their drink into the other person's mug to ensure they haven't been poisoned.
Oh,
That makes sense.
That makes total sense. I heard it was bad luck if you clink and then don't drink right after.
Church bells at a funeral are actually to ward off evil spirits who take the deceased soul to hell. I only know this because my grandmother explicitly didn't want them at her funeral because it's a pagan custom, according to her.
Oh my gosh. They do pay attention to those bells, though.
They must have had a lot of evil spirits back in the day.
Well, they thought everything was because of an evil spirit. Like if someone coughed, they were like, "Oh my god,
An evil
the devil's
spirit's
gonna get in
trying
there!
to come out of
It's
you."
gonna get in there." I mean, like again, how fucking stupid were we?
So stupid.
It's very scary.
666 is the devil's number, or that the pentacle and pentagrams are going to summon demons. Christianity is so steeped in Western cultures that we take basic things and turn them into fearful superstitions.
Mm-hmm.
The purpose of bridesmaids was to confuse and protect the bride from being snatched by the fae.
Okay.
Why would they care?
Yeah, like what? I mean, what?
Bad luck comes in threes. I usually see this in the context of celebrity deaths.
Yes, that's true.
I see it in more than just that.
Yeah, a lot of things come in threes.
Mm-hmm. The devil, people in this century, people who wear suits and run political campaigns believe that an evil spirit with horns is plotting to destroy them. Nurses will murder people who say a shift is... What?
What?
Oh, okay. I was confused. Nurses will murder people who say a shift is quiet.
Oh.
We aren't allowed to say the Q word. I don't believe it, but it's fun to give each other hell about saying it or getting to blame someone when shit hits the fan. Well, look at... That's why it confused me.
Oh. That's weird.
They took out the E. I was like, what? Okay. Wedding rings on your left ring finger. Supposedly a vein there that goes directly to your heart, keeping your love symbol close to your heart and your marriage full of love. Yeah, that doesn't work.
That does not work.
No.
For 50% of all married people.
Yes. I'd say it's probably even more than that now.
Yeah, probably, yeah. I think it's gone up like 15% since this quarantine shit. Everyone has to
Oh, gosh.
stay in the same house.
Yeah.
They're not having it.
I know a couple of Japanese ones. The more well-known is that the number 4 is a bit unlucky because it sounds like death.
Oh, I wonder how you say it.
I don't know. All right. You're supposed to cover your thumbs from passing funeral cars.
What?
I don't fully get it. Something about the thumb being the parent finger and ghosts from the funeral car entering into your body.
That's weird.
So, if a funeral procession is going by, you have to cover your thumbs?
I don't know.
That's so weird. Where do people come up with this?
I thought maybe for a second it was like maybe you were hitchhiking with the hearse or something, like you wanted to die if you showed your thumbs. I don't know. That's weird.
That sounds about as good as anything. Similarly, if you cut your nails at night, you won't be with your parents. What? There's so many typos. If you cut your nails at night, you won't be with your parents when they pass on.
That's not true.
That's not true.
That's stupid. What is that?
Yeah, why would that even come up?
I know. That has to be like one person told someone and that person overreacted or something.
I don't know. Chinese people set off fireworks on New Year to ward off evil spirits. Since they invented them, we could say the origin of fireworks was superstition. For many sit-down Chinese restaurants like buffets, you have to turn left or right twice before actually getting into the restaurant. That's to confuse the demons.
They do get confused by that. What?
Kissing on New Year, thought to purify each other of evil for the new year.
What the fuck?
I don't know.
People were so scared of being evil.
I guess. Holding your breath when driving by a cemetery.
I've heard that one.
Walking under a ladder.
Mm-hmm.
Suppose there are a couple of reasons not to do that. Not sitting 13 at one table, not having a 13th floor on an office building. My building just renovated one of their elevators, and I was amused to see they had eliminated the number 13 from the brand new control panel. Superstition dies hard.
It does. They still do that.
I know.
Which is so dumb. There's still a freaking 13th floor.
I know.
Just because you put it on there doesn't mean so. I'm like, what the
People
fuck?
are stupid. Look, you'll find that just about everyone has little things they do in order to affect their luck, whether it's avoiding cracks on sidewalks to ward off bad luck or blowing on dice before a throw to bring on good luck. Knocking on wood to make sure we don't jinx anything. I do that.
Oh, yeah, I do that too.
I guess I'm stupid too. That's all I got.
I heard, the stars on people's houses?
Yeah.
They're everywhere?
Yeah.
Those were to ward off evil
Oh,
spirits.
my gosh.
And people still do that. I don't know if that's why they have
I don't think they
them.
do that now because of that.
Yeah, I think it's just decoration now. But that was one on there that I didn't hear. And there was another one too. I don't remember what though.
Now, see, I'll do the knock on wood thing, but I don't really actually believe that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
know.
You just I do that too. Okay, this week I did just more creepy things that have happened to people. First one, this happened to a friend of mine. She told me at about a year ago or so. We'll call her Minji.
Minji?
Yeah, it looks, she's from South Korea.
Oh.
So, Minji was in her late 20s and works as an English tutor in South Korea. One evening, a few years ago, she was tutoring a high school boy. They were up studying pretty late, and the buses stopped running. Being a long way from his house, the boy asked if he could crash on her floor overnight and get the first bus the next morning. Minji was very reluctant because inviting teenage male students to stay the night didn't sound like a great idea, but he was begging her, and eventually she relented. They went back to her one-room apartment, and she got into bed while he laid a blanket out on the floor, and they both fell asleep. A few hours later, at maybe 2 a.m., the boy wakes Minji up. "I'm really hungry," he says. "Let's go get some food." Minji opens her eyes and looks at him in disbelief. "Food? Now? It's 2 a.m. Go back to bed." But the student insists, "No, I'm hungry. Let's go get something to eat now." She tells him that there's some ramen in the kitchen and he can fix himself some. This doesn't satisfy him. He doesn't want ramen. There's a 24-hour place just down the road. Let's go there. Eventually, after several minutes of persuasion, the boy gets Minji to come with him to the restaurant. They leave the apartment and head out. As soon as they're on the street, the boy turns to Minji and says, "I'm not hungry. I woke up in the middle of the night and looked under your bed. There's a man sleeping there."
Oh my gosh! Oh, I did not expect that.
They call the police and discover that a homeless man has been living in Minji's apartment, sleeping under her bed for almost 2 months. The boy only saw him because he was lying on the floor and had a clear view under the bed.
Oh my god.
The police arrested the man, and thankfully there were no other issues, but that's by far the creepiest thing that's ever happened to anyone I know.
Oh my gosh.
That was from...
I got full body chills on that one.
That was from Adacor, I think. Next one, a few weeks ago, my girlfriend and I were sleeping together when I woke up to her saying, "What are you doing?" She sometimes talks in her sleep, but this sounded so coherent and urgent that it jolted me awake, and I asked what she was talking about. She then woke up and said she thought she saw someone at the end of the bed. Thinking it was just a dream or a semi-awake hallucination, we thought nothing of it and went back to sleep. About an hour later, I woke up and saw someone standing on the bed with the sheets wrapped up and twisted to their neck. I didn't know what to do, but the first thing that came out of my mouth was, "What are you doing?" My girlfriend then woke me up. I had been dreaming the exact same thing she did and said the exact same thing. I know it's the power of suggestion, but fuck that.
Ew, that's creepy.
That is creepy. Next one, when I was younger, I had an imaginary friend who lived in this massive antique dresser. We chilled out, and I vividly remember him telling me stories, although I have absolutely no recollection of what they were about. I remember one day talking to my parents about it. My dad traveled quite a bit, so he wasn't up to date with what I was into. And when I started telling him about my dresser buddy, he wanted to know his name. It was something innocent like Peter or Patrick. I can still see him going white in the face when I told him. I drew Peter or Patrick out for him, and the very next day, him and my uncle took out that dresser and burned it. It wasn't until a few years later when I found out that my dad's little brother, my uncle, also had the same friend with the same name who lived in the same antique dresser. After a few months of the typical imaginary friendship, my uncle started having night terrors and couldn't sleep because of Peter or Patrick. It got so bad that they had to move him out of his room before he managed to get back to normal.
I've heard that story before.
Oh, have you? Mm-hmm. That was from Tony FX. Next one, when my son was about 3, he had an imaginary friend in his room who he used to talk to all the time. He would tell us stories about things she would tell him, and we would hear him chatting to her at bedtime. We thought it was pretty cute. After a few months, my son said he wasn't friends with her anymore. We figured he was over his phase of seeing her, so we're surprised to hear him still talking to her at night. Then he started not wanting to go to bed and having really bad dreams. At some point, we ended up asking a lot of questions about her, and we had assumed she was a little girl, but apparently she was 47.
Ugh.
She lived in the wall, and he stopped being friends with her because she wanted him to call her mommy.
Ugh.
Her mom was something like Margaret. She wanted him to come and live with her in the wall. He had told her he didn't want to talk to her anymore, and she wouldn't go away. We eventually moved houses, and he stopped talking about her. Funny thing is, when I was pregnant with him, living in the same house, I used to have a dream that a lady was sitting at the dining room table in our bedroom, except it was obviously a different era, and the room was not a bedroom at the time. The lady used to knit and make me listen to her giving me parenting advice, while her 2 20-ish-year-old sons sat at the table quietly.
Ew. That's creepy.
That was from Thrift Shop Knickers.
Okay.
Ew.
That's gross.
Don't buy knickers at the thrift shop. Next one, hard to say what qualifies as creepy. It could maybe be seen as heartwarming. I don't know. My mother swears this is a true story, and frankly, I don't see why she would lie about it. My mom had 3 kids. There's me, the youngest, and my older brother. But before either of us were born, there was Jonathan. He was a sweet little blonde boy, big blue eyes, known for accidentally repeating Dad's swear words in church. Wholesome kid, great in school, active outside. When he was almost 6, he was riding his bike and fell and hit his head on a rock. He got up and said he felt fine. My mom found him the next morning in his bed. When she tried to wake him up to get to kindergarten, one pupil dilated and the other not. She got him airlifted to the nearest hospital. During this time, Jonathan's best friend, Nick, was sitting at the breakfast table eating cereal. Nick suddenly got up from the table and goes to the door. When his mom asks what he's up to, Nick says that Johnny was calling for him. Nick and Johnny lived on separate blocks, but they weren't allowed to cross the street without a parent, yet because they were still fairly young. But they lived close enough to call one another to come out to talk at their respective street corners. So Nick goes out to the street corner while his mother receives a call from mine that Johnny was just declared dead in the hospital.
Aww.
Idle brain aneurysm that was triggered by the fall. Nick's mom can hardly handle the news and is now wondering where her son went. But Nick comes back a few minutes later and says that he heard Johnny calling to him, but he wasn't on the street corner when he looked. Then sits down and continues eating his cereal. When his mom asks Nick what Johnny was saying, Nick says he had come to say goodbye. My mom told me this story when I was young, and it stuck with me. I wish I could have met him, but truthfully, I wouldn't be here to type this story to all of you random strangers if he had died. My mother only wanted 2 kids. I'm thankful for the chance I was given to live and feel like he died for me sometimes. I'm not religious, but I do feel spiritual when I think of Johnny.
Aw.
That was from Slut Rapunzel.
Oh, alrighty.
I know you're like, oh, and then, oh. Slut Rapunzel. Next one, when I was a child, we would frequently get calls for a woman named Tanya. Didn't seem like a big deal. She had the same last name as us, although it was quite a common one around here. When we moved across the city and phone books stopped being a go-to for finding somebody's number, the calls for Tanya gradually stopped. Those days seemed to have ended, and we carried on, forgetting about the mysterious Tanya. It was about 4 years ago that she popped up in our lives again. I was driving home from work one afternoon when I was greeted by a pretty grisly car wreck at the turn to my house. 2 cars had collided, and one had wrapped itself around a single pole that had house numbers and the directions on it, one of which was my house number. Several days later, we get a call from the police. They asked if Tanya was at this residence. Her car was found wrapped around a pole down the street from my house, and she was nowhere to be found at the accident site. Haven't heard anything about her since.
That's weird.
That is weird. Why would they think that she was at that house? Like, why would they? That's so
And
weird.
where'd she go?
I know.
She living under their bed?
Ew, I don't know. That was from Viverloud, I think. Next one, my mom is Native American. She named my sister, I'm probably going to butcher this, but Chula? C-H-U-L-A? Chula? Which means fox.
Okay.
That's what I'm going to go with. Most likely because of her namesake, but maybe not. My sister loved everything that had to do with a fox. Last November, my mom was doing dishes at the sink and looking out the window at the woods like she always does. Well, she looks up from the dishes to the edge of the woods, and at that moment, a fox steps out of the woods. It sits on its hind legs and stares right at my mom's face while she stares back through the window. She said it seemed like 5 minutes that they stared at each other. Suddenly, the fox got up, turned around, and slowly walked into the woods. My mom said her first thought was to call Chula and tell her about the fox. My sister never answered. She had died in a head-on collision that day due to some asshole drunk driver. My mom keeps looking for the fox, but it never came back.
Aww.
That was from Nick001, or it looks like Nicholas. I don't know.
That was sad.
I know, but so, like, meaningful. That's
Yeah.
so cool. That's sad. Next one, when I was young, I went to see my grandpa, who happened to be caretaking for a multimillionaire's ranch while the prior caretaker was having rotary cuff surgery. One day, he takes me to the prior caretaker's house and a few others and has me flip the breaker off, all of them. I didn't think anything of it at the time. I figured it was maintenance of some type. That night, it was about 11:30, and I was sitting on the couch watching the news, and he calls me out onto the porch. He points to the caretaker's house, where we had turned all the breakers off, but there were 3 lights on. I grabbed binoculars and looked through the windows. No people, no movement, nothing. He looks over at me and says, "That's the 3rd time this week. The first time I went over with my gun, expecting someone to have broken in, but when I got to the house, the door was locked just like I had left it. I went inside, and nothing was out of order except a bar stool was pulled out. Sure enough, we went over, and nothing was out of order except the bar stool. So I go downstairs and check the breaker box, and the second I open the breaker box, the lights go off upstairs.
Ooh.
I quickly wisened up and got the fuck out of there."
Sounds good to me.
Yeah. And that was from a deleted person. It just says deleted.
Oh.
Next one, I was sitting in my classroom in grade school when all of a sudden I had this overwhelming sense of despair hit me out of nowhere. It was like that feeling when your heart drops to your feet, but magnified tenfold. I turned to the girl next to me and told her, "I feel like something really bad just happened." I learned later that day that my brother had jumped off a 15-story building literally right before I told my classmate. She found out the next day why I wasn't in class and apparently had to be sent home. I actually talked to her somewhat recently, and it still freaks her out.
Yeah, that is freaky.
That is freaky. It's from Bates479. And my last one. I arrived home and saw my husband's car parked and thought to myself, "It's Friday, nice, he's home early." I go to my room and change when I remembered that I had forgot to pick something up to make for dinner. I go to knock on the bathroom door, hearing the water running. My husband was in the shower. I asked him if he wanted anything from the store. He replied with a yes. So I asked him, like what? And then he asked for a towel. But me being in a hurry, I ignored him because we always kept a shelf stocked with towels. So I yelled, "Bye, I'll be right back." I open the front door and see my husband pull up in the driveway. Unbeknownst to me, he was being dropped off since his car tire had a flat that morning. We go to look in the bathroom and it's empty. The shower and tub are dry, and the mirror was fogged. It was his voice. It sounded exactly like him. Makes me wonder if something tried to lure me in, or was it a glitch in the Matrix?
That's weird.
That was from Ab Escobar.
I would freak out.
But you wouldn't, though. You wouldn't. Because, one, he was home then, so you weren't alone. And if you went in there and, nothing was happening, you wouldn't freak out. I mean, I think you would freak out internally, but it would just be, gone at that point. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but that's freaky.
It is. But, yeah, I mean, if you were certain that you were, talking to someone.
Yeah.
And then you walk out and they're pulling up in the driveway.
Oh,
my gosh, I would die. Those were mine.
Okay. It's time for the Witty Rapper.
Yay,
I did blonde jokes this time.
all right.
A blonde, a redhead, and a brunette were all lost in the desert. They found a lamp and rubbed it. A genie popped out and granted them each one wish. The redhead wished to be back home. Poof, she was back home. The brunette wished to be at home with her family. Poof, she was back home with her family. The blonde said, "Oh, I wish my friends were here."
That's rude.
Two blondes fell down a hole. One said, "It's dark in here, isn't it?" The other replied, "I don't know, I can't see."
That's stupid.
That's really stupid. Blonde, what does IDK stand for? Brunette, I don't know. Blonde, OMG, nobody does.
Oh my gosh.
Stupid.
That actually sounds like me.
There was a blonde, a redhead, and a brunette. They were all trapped on an island, and the nearest shore was 50 miles away. The redhead swam, trying to make it to the other shore. She swam 15 miles, drowned, and died.
Oh.
The brunette swam 24 miles, drowned, and died. The blonde swam 25 miles, got tired, and swam back. Oh my gosh. Why can't a blonde dial 911?
I don't know.
She can't find the 11.
Oh my gosh. That's funny.
A blonde and a redhead have a ranch. They have just lost their bull. The women need to buy another. The women need to buy another, but only have $500. The redhead tells the blonde, I will go to the market and see if I can find one for under that amount. If I can, I will send you a telegram. She goes to the market and finds one for $4.99. Having only $1 left, she goes to the telegraph office and finds out that it costs $1 per word. She is stumped on how to tell the blonde to bring the truck and trailer. Finally, she tells the telegraph operator to send the word comfortable. Skeptical, the operator asks, how will she know to come with the trailer from just that word? The redhead replies, she's a blonde, so she reads slow. Come for to bull.
I heard that one. That's funny.
A guy took his blonde girlfriend to her first football game. They had great seats right behind their team's bench. After the game, he asked her how she liked the experience. Oh, I really liked it, she replied, especially the tight pants and all the big muscles, but I just couldn't understand why they were killing each other over 25 cents. Dumbfounded, her date asked, what do you mean? Well, they flipped a coin, one team got it, and then for the rest of the game, all they kept screaming was, get the quarterback, get the quarterback. I'm like, hello, it's only 25 cents.
I wonder if that's true.
That sounds like something that could be true.
Yeah.
A robber comes into the store and steals a TV. A blonde runs after him and says, wait, you forgot the remote. A guy was driving in a car with a blonde. He told her to stick her head out the window and see if the blinker worked. She stuck her head out and said, yes, no, yes, no, yes. There was a blonde who just got sick and tired of all the blonde jokes. One evening she went home and memorized all the state capitals. Back in the office the next day, some guy started telling a dumb blonde joke. She interrupted him with a shrill announcement. I've had it up to here with these blonde jokes. I want you to know that this blonde went home last night and did something probably none of you could do. I memorized all the state capitals. One of the guys, of course, said, I don't believe you. What is the capital of Nevada? Nevada. N, she announced.
Oh my God. No!
There are 11 people hanging onto a rope that come down from an airplane. 10 of them are blonde and 1 is a brunette. They all decide that one person should get off because if they don't, the rope will break and everyone will die. No one can decide who should go, so finally the brunette delivers a very touching speech, ending with the words, I'll get off. The blondes, all moved by the brunette's speech, start clapping. Problem solved.
And brunette's like, sweet.
A blonde, wanting to earn some money, decided to hire herself out as a handyman type and started canvassing a wealthy neighborhood. She went to the front door of the first house and asked the owner if he had any jobs for her to do. Well, you can paint my porch. How much will you charge? The blonde said, how about $50? The man agreed and told her that the paint and ladders that she might need were in the garage. The man's wife, inside the house, heard the conversation and said to her husband, does she realize that the porch goes all the way around the house? The man replied she should. She was standing on the porch. A short time later, the blonde came to the door to collect her money. You're finished already? He asked. Yes, the blonde answered, and I had paint left over, so I gave it 2 coats. Impressed, the man reached into his pocket for the $50. And by the way, the blonde added, that's not a porch, it's a Ferrari.
Oh my God. It's not a porch. Oh my gosh.
bet he was pissed. Why couldn't the blonde add 10 plus 5 on a calculator?
Why?
She couldn't find the 10 button.
We
You should have
already had
got that one.
We already had that one.
That's
I thought
not
it was different.
A blind man on a bar stool shouts to the bartender, "Want to hear a blonde joke?" In a hushed voice, the guy next to him says, "Before you tell that joke, you should know something. Our bartender is blonde. The bouncer is blonde. I'm a 6 foot tall, 200-pound black belt. The guy sitting next to me is 6'2", weighs 225, and he's a rugby player. The fellow to your right is 6'5", pushing 300, and he's a wrestler. Each of us is blonde. Think about it, mister. Do you still want to tell that joke?" The blind guy says, "Nah, not if I'm going to have to explain it 5 times." That was great. A science teacher tells his class, "Oxygen is a must for breathing and life. It was discovered in 1773. A blonde student responds, "Thank God I was born after 1773. Otherwise, I would have died without it."
I didn't get that one. I must have missed some.
The teacher told him that oxygen, was for breathing and life, and they discovered oxygen in 1773.
Oh!
And the blonde says, "Thank God she was born after 1773.
She would die without it.
Yes.
Oh. Well, you had to explain that to me, so.
Okay.
I'm not blonde.
A husband and wife were driving through Louisiana. As they approach Natchitoches, they started arguing about the pronunciation of the town. They argued back and forth, then they stopped for lunch. At the counter, the husband asked the blonde waitress, "Before we order, could you please settle an argument for us? Would you please pronounce where we are very slowly?" She leaned over the counter and said, "Burger King."
Again, something I would do.
A blonde goes into a nearby store and asks a clerk if she can buy the TV in the corner. The clerk looks at her and says that he doesn't serve blondes, so she goes back home and dyes her hair black. The next day she returns to the store and asks the same thing, and again the clerk said he doesn't serve blondes. Frustrated, the blonde goes home and dyes her hair yet again to a shade of red. Sure that a clerk would sell her the TV this time, she returns and asks a different clerk. To her astonishment, this clerk also says that she doesn't serve blondes. The blonde asks the clerk, "How in the world do you know I'm a blonde?" The clerk looks at her disgustedly and says, "That's not a TV, it's a microwave." What did the blonde say when she saw the Cheerios box?
What?
"Oh my God, donut seeds!"
That would be awesome.
That would be awesome. I'm not much of a gardener, but I would be then.
Donut tree?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
A brunette goes into a doctor's office and says that her body hurts wherever she touches it. "Impossible," says the doctor. "Show me." She takes her finger, presses her elbow, and screams in agony. She pushes her knee and screams, pushes her ankle and screams, and so it goes on. Everywhere she touches makes her scream with pain. The doctor says, "You're not really a brunette, are you?" She says, "No, I dyed my hair. I'm naturally blonde." "I thought so," he said. "Your finger is broken."
Oh, my God. Oh, that's stupid.
Yeah, that's stupid. And my last one, a police officer stops a blonde for speeding and asks if he could see her license. She replied in a huff, "I wish you guys could get your act together. Just yesterday you take away my license, and then today you expect me to show it to you."
That's all I got. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for listening. We really appreciate it. You can look us up on Facebook, like the page, and join the group. Please rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen. And we'll talk to you next week. Later. Bye. Yeah, I almost died when I heard button.
Oh my God.
From across the house. I was like, did she just say button? I was like, oh my God. I also heard a, what are you doing? I was like, doing? What's doing?
I heard one this week too. I don't remember what the word was, but it was a totally new one that I'd never heard before, and I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah. Don't talk like that.
God. So stupid.